Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. And today I want to talk to you guys about something that I still see a few of you guys bringing up down in the comment section of videos, which is what happens when Naruto and Hinata get unsealed, in particular their memories of Boruto being their son. In the past, I gave a brief answer in one of the chapter reviews because I personally didn't think it was this big of a deal to make a whole video on it, but given the increasing number of comments I see asking this question and the number of DMs I still keep getting on social media regarding this question, I wanted to get my thoughts in a video. So this is something where we're all on the same page in terms of how I feel about this situation. That way, when somebody asks me, hey, do you think they're affected, I can just link them to this video. As always, when we do these discussion videos, we'll follow the same format that we've done since we launched the channel, which is I'll introduce a topic or concern, I'll give my stances on it, I'll weigh in on any narrative impact if said thing does end up happening, and in this case I'm going to take it a step further and make an actual prediction, which normally I don't do in these videos. Despite what the title and thumbnail will tell you, I normally don't give a full prediction in the videos. If I do, I tell you up front. Otherwise, I stay in that happen of, hey, if this happens, here's the payoff for it, here's why I think it's a good or a bad idea. But most of the time, I don't say with absolute certainty that I think something's happening, but this video, we're making an exception on this. So as we all remember, when Naruto and Hinata got sealed away by Kawaki, Konoha went on to a manhunt for Kawaki, and it led to Kawaki getting pushed into a corner where he found himself desperate and alone, and knowing that he was probably going to get himself killed for what it was that he'd done. After Ada finds him and he shares his frustration that he's the one being hunted down despite him being the one in the right. Boruto possessed no Tsuki inside of him, that while Momoshiki couldn't resurrect using Boruto's body, the danger was still there that Momoshiki could hijack Boruto's body, which made Boruto a threat that nobody wanted to take out. Kawaki felt that he was the only one being logical here, and you could argue he was the only logical one there, saying that if their roles were reversed and he was the son of Naruto and Boruto was the outsider, the village would be hunting down Boruto instead of Kawaki. This of course led to the Omnipotence being casted, and as we all saw, everything changed in the blink of an eye. Boruto was now the one being hunted down, and Kawaki was the beloved son of Naruto. Kawaki, upon realizing what happened, took advantage of the situation, got Ada to lie everyone, taking it a step further by having her say that Boruto killed Naruto and Hinata, because Kawaki saw this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have Boruto killed, because Boruto was confused, he was alone, he was running on chakra, and he knew Boruto would never fight his friends at full power. There would be no better opportunity to have Boruto killed than in that moment. In the aftermath of all this, we saw that Code was one of the people who was also affected by Omnipotence, because he was shown blaming Boruto for taking away Jigen, taking away Ishiki, taking away Ada, taking all of them away from him. Things that Code, if he had been in his right mind, would have been blaming Kawaki for, since Kawaki was the one who Jigen gave the Chroma Seal to. Kawaki was the one who killed Ishiki by tricking him with a shadow clone. Kawaki was the one that Ada said she wanted to go ride on that carousel. Yet here he was blaming Boruto, despite Boruto being in another dimension, and he was still affected by the Omnipotence, irrespective of the fact that he wasn't actually on planet Earth, he was somewhere else. This of course caused a lot of people to start asking questions. Hey, are Naruto and Hinata, are they affected by Omnipotence? And I said in one of my chapter reviews, in passing, in a single line, hey, I believe they are affected by Omnipotence, because we've seen that despite them being in another dimension, you can still be affected by Omnipotence. Naruto and Hinata might be in another dimension frozen still, but the chakra in their bodies is still there, which means that their minds could still be altered. I took that stance months ago. However, I want to take it a step further now, because after chapter 7 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, we got some new information. I want to say it's irrelevant whether or not they're affected by Omnipotence or not, because I don't think that them being affected is going to be a factor at all moving forward. I don't think narratively you even need that answer given to you. Allow me to explain. So chapter 7 gave us the line that we need when it came to this whole conversation, but it was all hidden in the language of Boruto explaining how Omnipotence works to Shikamaru and saying that trying to understand how Omnipotence works isn't the important thing, because he's been told what happened before, but that he just needed to trust what Boruto said about Boruto and Kawaki's lives being switched, which is what Sasuke and Amato did for different reasons. Sasuke and Amato did so because of their daughters. Sasuke due to Sarada's tears in her Mangekyo awakening, and Amato due to the ninja tech in Kawaki and his daughter's DNA inside of Kawaki's karma. They both chose to act under the assumption that, hey, my memories have been altered, and they left it at that, and they operated under that assumption. The reason I think that this is irrelevant is Boruto made it a point when Shikamaru told him that if it were him, he'd be focused on unsealing Naruto before anything else. And Boruto said that he doesn't want to kill Kawaki. He said that unsealing his parents is pointless if he and Kawaki don't work things out, because Kawaki will eventually do the same thing he did before, which is he'll get all in his feelings and he'll tell Naruto that he no longer pees standing up. From now on, Naruto has to pee sitting down, and then he'll seal him away in the name of protecting him. At some point, Naruto and Hinata, they're going to get out, and when they do, I strongly believe the Omnipotence stands a chance of already having been reversed in some kind of a way. Whether that's Kawaki being used as a trigger to undo Omnipotence, or we go a step further and we do what I've been saying for years, long before Omnipotence happened, which is that Kishimoto is writing in elements of Samurai 8 to do an adjusted ending from Samurai 8 for Boruto's story, because of all the different aspects of that story that are being sprinkled into Boruto, tweaking it for the Naruto universe. Whenever they get unsealed, and however they get unsealed, either through Kawaki being a good little boy and making things right, or Boruto taking the sacrifice route and transcending the cycle of life, death, and rebirth via something that happens with Sarada, similar to the way that Hachimaru and Anne had their stories wrapped up in the Samurai 8 story. However we get there, whatever road that we take to get there, when Naruto comes out with Hinata, their memories, they're going to be intact because the whole thing's been reversed. I believe that's probably your end game. On one hand, while I would personally love to see Boruto just suffer the most, continue to put him through the ringer, have him somehow have his parents released, and then Naruto goes off on him thinking that Boruto's the one that sealed him away, while I would laugh my butt off while simultaneously finding a reason to root for Boruto to overcome yet another obstacle on his path to completing the hero's journey, because that's when you love the hero the most. Not when they completed the journey, but the journey that they take to get to the ending. Similar to how in wrestling, fans love the babyface when they chase the title, not necessarily when they have the title. Same thing applies here. I'd be happy with that, but I don't think that the level of pain right now is needed for Boruto, only because narratively, I don't see the payoff in that moment. It's unnecessary because anything you can gain from Naruto and Hinata not knowing who Boruto is, it can be just as effectively conveyed through his interactions that he has with Himawari, in my opinion. Allow me to explain to you why I say that. While Naruto and Hinata, they are his parents, Naruto's changing Boruto's diapers, and Boruto was probably sucking on Hinata's breast as a newborn. The Boruto and Himawari dynamic, it offers just as much, if not more, of that same heartbreaking conflict. The reason being is that Boruto is extremely overprotective of his sister, and when he came back to Konoha, he was a stoic guy, only showing a super serious expression and going off the whole John Wick vibes of how methodical he was taking people out. The sight of Himawari was the one time that Boruto in Volume 1 broke character and he dropped his cool. His sister is his thumbscrew. His sister is the one thing that can make Boruto crumble emotionally, and the future interactions that you have with the two of them are enough to satisfy that itch, in my opinion. You don't need him meeting Naruto and Hinata, because I don't think you can dive that much deeper unless you go at it from the scope of how parents know on an instinctual level that instinct with their children and vice versa, and you build on that concept of the Otsutsuki not understanding the complexity of human emotions like love, which is why Momoshiki didn't understand why Sasuke trusted Sarada after the Omnipotence happened. I know based off of some of the comments I read and the messages that this is an unpopular opinion, but it's the one that I feel the most strongly on. You don't need Naruto and Hinata for that payoff, and the story is better suited keeping them out the story until the story hits its climax in part 2, or take it a step further until it's in the resolution portion of the story. As hard of a pill as that is for some Naruto fans to hear, the same fans who will say, well, Boruto's carried by Naruto and Sasuke, now they're out of the story. Can't make that argument, but they're still making that argument. You don't need Naruto in the story right now, and I applaud the narrative for not breaking that glass in case of emergency button and keeping Naruto and Hinata out of the story, keeping Sasuke out of the story. It goes back to what Boruto told us in the opening monologue of his story, which is that part 1, so the 80 chapters of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, was a story of father and son, but Boruto said that in the overall story, only the beginning of the story is, quote, the story of me and my dad, but this is my story. My father is the Hokage, so he will always be part of my story, but this is my story, end quote. Something the anime never should have cut out when they adapted Boruto chapter 1, but that's a whole nother video for another day. And we shifted away from the story of parent and child to a coming of age story for the child, the more traditional shonen story, which I believe is more fitting. This is where Boruto needs to be. It's absolutely where he needs to be. This is the story that it needs to take him to. His parents, they don't need to be released right now. And I don't think that they need to be revealed affected or unaffected at this moment. They aren't needed at any portion of the story, which I strongly think is why we don't see them unaffected or interacting with Boruto until the omnipotence has been reversed. And that's assuming we again don't get a full-blown Samurai 8 bittersweet ending that is both bittersweet and open-ended. However, those are just my thoughts on this matter at hand. I know that's not a popular stance. I know that I will probably piss some of you guys off. As you guys know, I'm not going to sugarcoat my thoughts. However, as you've seen before with videos like the How Strong is the Boruto Generation video, I don't care about making unpopular stances, which you can see why I say that by checking out this video you see on the screen.